Welcome to those who are listening. This is the Ecclesia Framework Accessing Heaven Group, April 5th, 2017. And we're all just descending into the kingdom of our hearts and meeting then by the river as trees of righteousness, arced with Jesus. So my tree has grown. It's like really a big tree all of a sudden. And Jesus' tree on the other side is really big too. It's like we've just grown into gigantic trees.
I'm seeing some fruit on the tree. I'm seeing 12 fruit on the tree. And I think this fruit represents the government of the kingdom. And what I'm getting is that we can take this fruit and build the kingdom, the government of the kingdom, wherever God tells us to.
So what you're saying is, as we eat this fruit, it imparts to us the ability or the anointing to bring His kingdom into wherever we are in the earth realm.
Yeah, we could just literally, because we have this fruit in our tree, we can manifest the kingdom wherever.
Can manifest it wherever.
Yeah.
Okay.
And because each fruit is different. All 12 fruit are not the same.
But if we eat of all the fruits, then all the fruits could manifest in us. Like the gifts would have done. We could manifest all the gifts, or we could manifest whatever aspect needed to be manifested at the time.
Yes, as trees of life, all the fruits are in us, on us. I can put it that way. We carry all the fruits as trees of life already. Right?
And we manifest them. You have your camera on, Michelle, if you cared. And we manifest them by faith, do you suppose? I mean, I've been pondering that appropriating the resources of heaven, and as I leaned into the ox to gain some of his strength, I felt that I just needed to ask for it and then receive it by faith and then go forth, and it was mine. So do you suppose we manifest this fruit the same way?
Well, what about the part where Simone saw them as each fruit representing government?
Government. But I thought we were manifesting that government, that God's government in the earth realm. Or we were supposed to manifest that God's government.
I think the 12 fruits do represent government, because all of them, like for example, if a fruit is truth, it represents government of God. Every fruit has to represent the government. It's not like looking at a local government as in the term of government. It's just that it's the rule. Every fruit manifests the rule of heaven anyway.
Yeah, the government. Yeah, because it governs over those who are part of the kingdom. It governs our behavior and our thoughts and our ways, and so it governs. Yeah. So the fruits are probably like peace, truth, joy, those kind of things.
Well, when we asked about this before, we got a sense that it was linked with the 12 strands of DNA. So things like judgment, justice, holiness. What's the Holy Spirit ones?
Love, joy, and peace.
Is that the Holy Spirit?
Peace and joy.
Yeah, love, joy, peace.
No, it's righteousness, peace, and joy.
Yeah, that's what I thought was different. Yeah, righteousness, joy, and peace.
So it's the same as the ephod symbols. The same the symbols on the ephod.
Yeah, the 12 stones. Yeah.
Of course, three of those are our body, our body, soul, and spirit.
Body.
How does that work?
Well, you know what the thing is, the body, the soul, and the spirit is all God's too. We're simply the expression of it. We don't possess. It's not our body and our soul. It's just that we are the expression of something in the earth called body, soul, spirit, soul, and body. But all belongs to God. It's all an expression of God.
That's good. Yeah. So I think I'm thinking in earth terms, but are we all lined up along a river that's kind of in a line, or is it more like a more like a pond where we're in a circle or something, or an orchard where they're everywhere, but the trees. Are we all lined up along the river, and there's a Jesus tree across from each of us? Or am I thinking way too Greek?
No, that's how I see it, because it says on each side of the river stood the tree of life. So we're on one side, Jesus is on the other side, and we're arcing with him, and our roots are entangled.
Okay. So do we eat the fruit from Yeshua's tree, or do we eat it from each other's tree?
Whose seed do you want?
Ooh, say that again, Elliot. You were breaking up.
Whose seed do you want?
Whose seed do we want? Oh, that's good. So we just need to desire a seed, and then we'll know which tree to go eat from. Wow. Oh my goodness. Woo.
I'm getting some sort of mandate around, I don't know how to express it. The extent to which this fruit can manifest in our lives, releasing the extent to which this fruit can manifest in our lives. Because I think there's lack of understanding and there's emotional blockages to the release of this for the Ecclesia. That is wanting to be released.
I just wanted to confirm that, Jane, because the scripture that I heard was be fruitful and multiply.
And this is how Eden is restored.
Oh, it's an interesting point. Yeah, I think we have to just learn how to operate here, and most of us don't know how to operate here. So I think this is what we've got to see and ask. What?
Well, if we focus on what the 12 strands of DNA, righteousness, peace, joy, way, truth, life, holiness, justice, judgment, body, soul, spirit, if we focus in on the 12 fruit, maybe we can be shown something.
It seems to me that the understanding this would affect our bringing forth cities of refuge or embassies of refuge or whatever, embassies of heaven or whatever on the earth realm, that it would affect that, or maybe even be how we do it, but would affect that.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree.
So it actually makes a kind of really important, almost basic understanding for being able to bring forth a city of refuge or an embassy heaven or whatever you want to call it.
I can also feel a real strong issue about confidence going on in the ecclesia that's affecting this fruit. There's almost like a battle for confidence to manifest this and to act as this tree.
Well, I can believe that. And so is it to manifest the fruit or is it to eat the fruit or both?
Don't know. Might be both. I mean, to manifest, you've got to eat, haven't you, first?
Yeah.
So I just saw how people, they would start eating the seeds of the fruit, but they aren't nourishing it enough to actually grow into a mature fruit. And so it didn't make it.
Oh, that's interesting. Can you say that again? What didn't they do with the fruit?
They didn't nurture it. They didn't water it. They didn't speak life to it. They, you know, they're getting the seeds from Jesus, right? From the fruit. But they're not. They're like falling off the tree before they're ripe. Like they're not ripening.
It
So
sounds like you're not eating the fruit that's around the seeds. You know?
Yeah, that's interesting. They're just getting the seed, not the fruit.
Well, I think what you're saying is that they're not maturing. You know, they're not yielding to maturing, so they're not paying the price to actually mature, or yielding, you know, the rest of their soul stuff into the maturing process.
That's what I was going to say. The process is incomplete. It's not going through the full maturity process. Not submitting to the process.
Yeah, I mean, I'm seeing it the same, but I'm phrasing it differently. Before you spoke, I saw it as these were like gateways, 12 gateways, and it was as if we hadn't fully cleansed or dealt with these gateways fully to allow us to have these 12 stones on our breastplate or the 12 fruits. So it was affecting, and and that's linked with confidence, because we have to have those as authority. Yeah, because it's all linked, and we don't get the full authority unless we have these 12 stones. These 12 strands. So it's very governmental, which goes back to what, Simone, what you said first off.
Well, and then also for me, because I saw me as a really, really big tree, which represented authority. I got that word right away.
Yes, yeah, that's good.
So the more that you spend time arcing with Jesus, the bigger you grow as a big tree with more authority.
You know what was interesting, Kathy? I saw that after you in the beginning when you said you were a big tree, because
So you just muted yourself, Simone.
Sorry, I sure did. Sorry, I was saying in the beginning after you had said that about the big tree, I then saw a small tree that was across the river from the tree of life. But when it arced and connected its branches like it was supposed to, it grew into a big tree.
I think we're talking about the union, level of union, or the level of commitment, do you think, to that union that produces the results of that authority and government and maturity? Is that that place of oneness, a consecration, as one with Jesus, like almost like the marriage agreement, the marriage union gives you a place of authority, gives you a place of fruitfulness.
Yeah, I mean, I would probably say everything could be summed up in union. So that's probably is quite correct. I guess the challenge for all of us is what do we need to do specifically to change this? That's the question that's coming to me.
Well, maybe it does start where we always meet as trees and see ourselves as trees, because the more we do this, the bigger we become as trees, and the more consecrated we become.
I mean, it could be linked back though to the whole process of the stones and the skins. And I know I went through a process in the early days of seeking what these stones were, and I was given 3, which interestingly enough, one was a green one representing peace, and one was a blue one representing authority, and a red one representing that kind of covenant union, marriage, love thing. And that happened to me quite early on, and then I continued to place on the 3 strands from Father, on Holy Spirit. And so it's sort of almost like an armor that you put on daily. But then I did so much through those things. For example, like, if we think of Jesus, the way, the truth, and the life, I mean, that to me is coming to me as maybe an obstacle as well, that some are still in not fully in the Holy of Holies, but in the inner courts. And then if we look at the Father, judgment, it's judgment, justice, and holiness. Is that right?
Yeah.
The judgment, justice, holiness. Yeah, I mean, I can just see there all sorts of blockages to that, to the extent to which you have yielded to those concepts.
Well, and it's also still being entangled with the tree of knowledge.
Yeah. I wonder if it's just generally an exhortation to really just keep, yielding to all these processes and not taking camp and thinking that's enough. And because I can see a huge link between the effect we can have governmentally and this. Because even if we think, it doesn't really matter that much, I can go off and do this legislation and that, there's something that will attack you later on about confidence of who are you to do this? How can you do this? And what's interesting is I'm getting this last week. It's almost like a spirit of intimidation over me of this that I'm feeling like I'm having to address, because it's almost like some of my confidence that I had earlier on is I feel less confident now than I did before. It's weird. It's really weird. But maybe it's because I'm dealing with much bigger things.
Mm-hmm. I was just saying, I've felt the same way, Jane. So interesting that you are saying that.
Really?
And this is what's interesting too, is that I'm in some new territory too. I was sharing with them, before she started recording. So it's interesting that you're saying that. Uh-oh, we lost Jane for a second. But you know what's coming to me, you guys? Is I wonder if we can release a frequency to call people back and to be submitted to the process so that they can mature and produce fruit at the end. So almost like a frequency to call people back to their place in God, to submit to the process so that they can produce the fruit, endure the duration. Not that even has to be long, but submit to the process in order to produce fruit. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you're talking about calling others, not just us, but others to this process. Because I've been feeling like, man, I don't know what else I can do. It's like God's got to do it. I mean, I love that understanding that the high priest has to cleanse the process, but I also understand that we're assets to Yahweh, and He's not going to quit. He's not going to, it's that verse that He doesn't quit. He doesn't quit on us until we're where we need to be in Him. Thank goodness. I'm glad it's just yielding I have to do.
I think it's a daily thing that's never going to end. I think we've got to get our heads around it's not a sort of thing we go through and then it's finished. It's a constant being attuned to things that are going to block those gateways, and that's always going to happen. But the moment if we get to like we've done it all right, that's the danger zone. Because then we're not really yielding to that river and that tree, and and we can start moving out in our own what's the word, ego. And particularly the higher we get, the more we're dealing with massive agendas, the more this is relevant, I can see. Because it has to be that holiness and this humility has to be huge in our lives to cope, so that the agendas that we're having are not going to corrupt us. Because it's almost like what's the word? You know, when any form of control, power corrupts really easily. And so it's I can see this like it's the higher we go in terms of our governmental authority and acting as a manifest son, the more we've got to dig deep into the humility and the holiness and the qualities of the Godhead, really, to keep that root deep such that the heights don't corrupt us.
Yeah, I think you're right on. I've been listening to Mike Bickle teach about King David, and he actually went through the same thing. This whole teaching is so relevant for what we're dealing with today, because Saul was after him to kill him for 7 years, and David had to, by faith, be protected from Saul for 7 years. That's a long time, and yet that's what he needed so that being king wouldn't go to his head. And he still had a few failures, but he always went back to his intimacy with God.
So I just saw all of our branches kind of hugging each other. So I think that there's something to do with holding each other up and holding each other accountable, and that's why it's so important to stay together.
Oh, I'm definitely feeling resonance with that, Kathy, that there's definitely something about the Oh, I can feel it now. It's like if we're struggling to drink, we can, by connecting with others, we can drink from
Their roots, their tree. Mhm.
yeah, and the fruit that they're manifesting, that it
Mhm.
then influences our DNA. And because it's just doing this journey alone was never the way it was meant to be.
Mm-mm. That interdependence we need to have.
Yeah, I mean, it can work the other way. You know, you can connect with the body and they can pull you down, but there's also a way in which it can pull you up.
So I was seeing also when we formed that that circle with our branches entwined, and I don't know if anybody remembers seeing these little marble statue things that were in a circle, and there. Anyway, I saw that, and then I saw a crown, and how a crown has those little points, and it almost is like each one of those crowns represents a tree, like each one of us.
Can you say that again? I can't get my head around
Ugh. Skip the marble statue thing. Skip that. So if you think about a crown and how you have points on a crown. So as trees are hugging each other in a circle with our branches, that each point of the crown is like the tree. So it's like the crown is formed by the trees. Do you get that?
crown.
So if you
Point of the crown is the tree.
visualize a crown and visualize trees hugging.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. So are you saying like almost like a big crown on the top?
Yeah, it's like we represent that. I guess we could look into that a little more.
I'm hearing crowning glory. I don't know what it means.
Well, we are his crowning glory. He says we are, so all of us together.
Yeah.
You know what I just got, you guys? I was just meditating on the tree as this tree's arguing with the tree of life, and the river of life flowing between us, and that is actually a gate. And that's actually a gate because the river of life is flowing between the two trees. And I was thinking about that too because, we are gates ourselves when we let the river of life flow from heaven to earth. I mean, through us. And so, anyway, it just occurred to me that we as trees argue with the tree of life, with the river of life flowing between us, is actually a gate. It doesn't sound as profound as when it clicked in my head, but I just thought I'd share that.
Oh yeah, I've seen that a lot now, and it's almost like a way you can a portal as well in which you can access other elements in heaven. I've been led through that arcing, and then I almost felt like I was sucked into the river through this gate, and then I ended up in the galaxies, and then I was doing stuff in eternity, and it was kind of like it gave me the resource, the impetus to be able to do that I couldn't just go there straight.
So then, is that saying that to me, that puts so much emphasis on how important it is to arc and agree with the tree of life and to entangle our roots, which we've said many times before, but a gate won't even form if that doesn't happen. So I'm just saying that's just everything that we arc with the tree and entangle with the tree, our roots and our branches.
Yeah, aren't we talking a lot about the emphasis is on arcing, which has to do with authority, the crown, the unity in agreement produces power, confidence, and authority. And that arc that you said is a gate, could it be everlasting doors? Because I saw on a diagram, one of I guess it's Mike's diagrams, that the everlasting doors are in the kingdom of heaven, but they release the atmospheres into the earth, into the kingdom of the earth. Oh, sorry, they're in the kingdom of God, and they release into the kingdom of the earth. That's where they are sort of, I suppose, their position is everlasting doors. So I'm just wondering if the Lord isn't showing us the power of agreement with Him, how that gives us confidence, and the power of agreement with each other as forming that crown. And yeah, I mean, if truth is one of the everlasting doors, and if the fruit of that's on the tree is one of the fruits is truth. Anyway, that's just what I was thinking.
No, I resonate with everything you've said, Michelle.
You what?
Yeah, I resonate with everything you've said.
Mm.
And I think there's another mandate coming out here about not just the extent to which we are tapping into the source of the river and the tree of life, but also the extent to which we're resisting working together in unity, because the unity will form this crowning glory more profoundly. So I get the sense that the glory we're experiencing to date is only a fraction of what we're meant to experience, because we're not fully working together as a one united body. And I can see there's levels at which people have reached. They've reached their like levels of growth and comfort, and that they, you know, they have moved. They have moved quite significantly, but where they've got to now is okay for them. And so there's a little bit of taking camp going on in lots of different elements of the body.
And that's where the lack of fruit being yielded.
Yes, yeah. And it's almost as if we're so bowled over with what we've seen that that's enough for us. But actually what we've seen is a fraction of the glory that we're meant to see. I mean, we're meant to actually, you know, when Moses came down the mountain, he took on the 4 faces. And we're meant to have that. I mean, we're, you know, not just, oh, wow, we get a little bit of a whack when we go to heaven and we do a little bit here and there. And, you know, we've got so far to go, but are we easily contented? That's almost the mandate I can feel coming out, that it's, which is linked to what we said really early on about you're not really, what's the word? Oh, fully seeing our governmental position. Yeah, not sort of just taking small little ministries or little roles in the Ecclesia, but being willing to say, you know, we can be called to be fathering nations, not just a few, you know, people or anything similar to what we even did in traditional church.
You know what I just saw, Jane, to go along with what you're saying? I saw that there's some trees missing at the riverbank, and that some have literally walked away. And but I think it was, and you know, just like you're saying, they saw a little bit of fruit, but I'm getting that they didn't even fully understand that they should have stayed so that they could have been a reflection of the tree of life. And and they've walked away, and they just need to be called back so that they can be planted again.
Oh, that's good.
And then I saw that they were given instruction, or I don't want to say corrected, but they got an understanding that, oh, okay, my fruit should look like the tree of life's fruit. So I need to, you know, I need to arc, and the way that you do that is you arc with the tree of life and you entangle your, you know, just they needed that to be understood, that that's what they were supposed to do. I got, for whatever reason, just like a dream, I just got a sense that they didn't, not that some of them didn't understand to stay put.
So almost they've gone back to old ways, do you think?
Yeah, I think it's like they just wandered off. They just wandered off with these incomplete looking fruit. And but I just saw that somebody just came and got it and brought it back. It's like, you know, you need to stay here. Your fruit should look like the tree of life's fruit. And so you need to stay here. You need to stay put. And just continue to arc with the tree of life and then take your roots with the tree of life. And, you know, that just needs to be explained to them. I just saw that little scene.
So is that a role we need to do now, is call them back, do something governmentally to call them back?
Yeah, I think so. That's the second time I've got
Yeah, Simone was
tonight
talking
that
about
because it came to me definitely. Yeah.
releasing a frequency.
There's another thing that I think also, applies to what we're talking about, that we could maybe, that we need to see or agree on, and that is that the crown that we saw, again, displayed that level of authority, that glorious testimony, because everyone was part of the crown. And coming together, that authority of agreement produced the results. And so each one coming together and moving out of that old mindset into everyone in his place and being able to ready to engage together, that people have drawn back from that or haven't wanted to enter into that. And that's still something that needs to change for the power and authority that we are meant to walk into together to produce. Those big things that we're looking for won't happen through one person, I don't believe. I believe it's going to happen through this union together where each one's equally fulfilling their part.
Jane, for whatever reason, I got the vision of a battleship, something that requires, many, many, many people to operate. One person aims, well, maybe 5 people do, and one person steers, one person listens to the radio. You can't possibly do it unless you have everybody working very well together.
That's a really good picture. I think that sums up what I saw before as well, that this crowning glory would come with each working together more as well. Because there's such a tendency in the Ecclesia to want to, because this can be conflict around doctrine, to just find your little group who create no hassle, that everyone's in agreement, and then when you find that, you feel a peace and a joy, and you just want to stay with that. And when you connect with others, there's conflict and there's strife, but there's some element in which that, it's iron sharpening iron. It grows us, and it's necessary. And the comfort is not a value that produces growth. Comfort causes things to die. So it's like, I think it's this working, I can see this mandate to pull everything together, work together more, run that battleship together, call people back. For those that have just sort of retreated a bit, call those back. So for those that are still there, to actually entangle their branches more and work together. I'm also hearing a new phrase called new networks. That as if heaven's calling us to, the more we entangle those branches, we will form these new groupings and new people that will stimulate our growth higher. But if we just stick with the same groups, there'll be an element will wither. Which is all back to the cross-pollination thing we saw as well ages ago.
As you're saying that, Jane, it makes me think about the brain and how when the brain is expanding, it creates new pathways too. And so that its potential, its ability, so the capacity or the what's the word I want to say, the performance of the brain will increase as it creates new pathways. So in the same way, I see what you're saying, that as we have these new networks, the fruitfulness even of the ecclesia will increase because of the new pathway or new networks.
Yeah, and if it's almost, I can see like it's got to be an ongoing pattern as well. You know, it's not just something we do once, and this is the journey now. This is the constant entangling with different people, different things that are going to feed our tree to new dimensions. Otherwise, we'll do exactly what traditional church did, was they learned a few doctrines that they were happy with, and then they all stuck together in those few doctrines, and they ignored every other thing and just focused on those. So we got the whole, you know, evangelistic stream, we got the whole prophetic stream, the whole kind of Baptist stream, and we group around whether we believe in full immersion, and it's those things are too narrow. We have to embrace the whole of what heaven has for us, and that's got to be this continual, like you saying, almost like the brain nerves going out and forming, stretching out, connecting with new people, new revelation.
It's the same way in the spirit. You know, once we get a pathway to somewhere in the spirit, we can go back to that place. I mean, you know, it creates a new what's the word I want to say? A new route.
A new route, yeah.
Well, also, if we're, as we are, trees of life, and the fruit of those trees being the way, the truth, and the life, and righteousness, peace, and joy, justice, judgment, and holiness, there's no end to that. We're not looking to a doctrine or a single teaching. We're looking to live as trees of life, and in the fruit, the 12 fruits of the tree of life, there's no end.
Yeah. So should we do some sort of governmental act, like releasing a frequency, to sum up all this that we've talked about, really?
I think so.
Yes.
Whether it's
Yeah.
frequency or something else. Anybody seeing any other act?
The frequency of us joining in, going through the letters of God's name, that's what I saw. You get a little bit of lion, a little bit of ox, a little bit of eagle, a little bit of man, and I don't know, seems to do a lot when I sit there, and then it goes out.
Anybody else, or any agreement with that?
I'm resonating with that.
Yeah.
I was seeing the Yod He, Vav He, and then I was seeing sap. Tree sap, like sticky tree sap.
Oh.
I don't know.
Like oozing out of the trees,
Mm-hmm.
like it does. Yeah, what's the function of sap? Never understood that.
I don't know.
So I think it's the that's what goes in the, is it the xylem, the water part? So it's like water and nutrient things going places.
Oh, right. Yes, up like the capillaries of the tree trunk.
It's like the tree's blood. Feeds it.
Kathy said it's like the tree's blood.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you were talking capillaries, so kind of tied to that.
Yeah, brings the nutrients to the parts of the tree to produce the fruit.
But what's interesting, it also includes hormones for the tree.
Mm.
So what if we were to just like chant Yod Hey, Vav Hey, and drip sap at the same time out of our trees?
Yeah, I'm seeing something additional as well. I'm seeing, I think it's Jesus in the middle. He's in the middle of the river, and he's like sort of pulling all these trees together under the crown. So there's a kind of I can see like an action we need to do, like a gathering, you know, pulling, attracting these trees so they form in a tighter circle.
Yeah, I was seeing what is that? The lamina? The lamina? Him as the lamina? Is that correct? Or it looks like a cross that holds all the ligaments together. What's that called?
Oh, don't know.
Anyway, I saw him spinning around to create that centrifugal force.
Oh yeah, centrifugal force. Yeah. Yeah, I just feel this huge need to like pull all these trees together and say, come on, you know, come together, work together in closer union.
It feels like he's dancing, but isn't that just a declaration that we need to make about coming together?
Ooh,
There,
you know what
there's
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Elliot.
I was going to say there's an intention, like we say it, but we also intend. You know, we're kind of like engaging the four faces of the Father, but also we're intending for all the sap to be moving, and we would intend for all the trees to be concentrated, like in the middle, not going far away, but like all coming together.
Yeah, yeah. Totally. So it's almost like a multi-action thing we're doing.
So are we actually like calling for the marriage union?
Between who?
Between us
Between
and God.
us and, oh yeah, more than unity together as a body.
Yeah.
I feel this is going to deal with the lack of confidence too.
Yeah.
It's interesting that we were just talking this morning with Jeremy, who works with Mike Parson, and we asked him about the marriage ketubah that they did as a church and what results he saw out of it. And one of the things that he said was that there was a confidence and for authority, a new confidence for authority.
Oh wow.
Which
Yeah, because
it makes sense, because the purpose of that union, that union gives us confidence when we know that out of union we're saying things, out of union we're doing, out of union with Jesus, with the Godhead, we're doing and saying these things, then there's confidence.
Yeah, and when there's affirmation and honor in the body of what someone else says, that gives you great confidence. Whereas if you going alone and other people are saying, "Oh no, I don't agree with this and don't agree with that," eventually it gets to you, and you begin to doubt what you're doing. So there has to become a point where all of us who are currently exploring heavenly realms have to come to more of a union. There's just too many different approaches at the moment. I see it. It's just so confusing and overwhelming and causing doubt.
Yeah, you have to trust and submit to the process, and it because the venturing off alone, it causes the fruit not to be fully developed. So that when you agree with the tree of life and you arc with the tree of life, the confidence is there, because and the fruit of being of the arcing and entangling the roots is that the fruit fully develops, and which that confidence will be there. And just like you're saying, everybody's saying with not being alone and being in a union, that's a big part of having that confidence. Being able to produce and have fruit.
Yeah. That's good. And I'm also seeing that I can see all these roots starting to entangle together, but I can see a role heaven's calling forth of networkers who will bring those streams together. And I think there's a thinking that, it will just be those leaders of those various arcs or networks, that they will do it. But what I see is it needs to be the body that will do it. It's too much just to keep putting it on everything onto a few people who are going to sort everything out and then we just turn up. It's the body has to be the one that's going to start networking and entangling all those branches together. And that comes through relationship and networking ourselves with lots of people, not just sitting alone, listening to podcasts, doing our own thing in heaven, but really, bringing people along, engaging and connecting.
So do you guys want to do the act?
Yeah.
Because I still see Jesus in the middle, and he's shaped like the laminin. Remember Louis Giglio did the thing on the laminin because it's shaped like a cross, and the laminin is the glue that holds the body together.
Oh no, I haven't heard that one.
Okay, it's really good. If you look up Louis Giglio and laminin, I'll put that in the chat.
But I have just to support what you're saying, Kathy. I saw something similar. I saw Jesus with a lasso herding all of these trees together, and so he went after these trees and he's herding them together to bring them back in.
Yeah, I see the lassos.
Can I say one last thing before we do the act? I think what I was seeing earlier when the trees came back and they were being instructed, I think that speaks of mentorship and discipleship. Just to go back to what Jane was saying about the networking and how the whole body has to do that. So yeah, because I had a sense that some of them didn't know that they needed to stay there and maintain. That they needed to continue the process so that the fruit would come to maturity.
Mm.
And the only way it's going to come to maturity is by entangling with others.
Yeah.
To create that crowning glory.
Yeah. That union has to happen.
Mm-hmm. So if we were to put like Yod He Shin Ba He, where Jesus is in the middle, just like he was in the middle of the crown, and then maybe see him lassoing the trees, or something to do with the sap, or what do y'all think?
Or start spinning really fast.
Well, yeah, and creating that magnet. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can see like Jesus creating this centrifugal force that's bringing those trees together.
I see that.
Because he's the magnet at the end of the day, isn't he, really? I mean, we're all attracted to him.
And then it's all held together by the sap. Or the laminin.
Oh, I'm seeing something massive. I'm seeing something massive. I'm seeing like the more that these are pulled together, it's like they're all forming into like one massive tree. Wow, that's huge. That has huge implications. I mean, that's probably the ultimate end game, is that when we're all one. Complete union.
Yeah, so let's just draw in all those trees. Draw them back.
I'm seeing some of them as actual people that used to be in the chat groups.
Oh, wow. I'm almost getting some very slight glimpses here of the end game. Like, I've been asking this question the last 2 days. What is the end game? and I'm getting this real sense it's so dependent on the unity of the body. It's not just individual manifestations, it's when the body will finally agree and work as one united body that will release the final end game. But the more we resist that, the more we postpone the timing of that.
Well, I think we all have set our desires on bringing the trees back to the river because they weren't finished.
Can you see it? Can anyone see any more fruit of what we've done? Any results?
Well, you saw the big tree, and we started out with me seeing the big tree.
Oh, yes.
Because when I was seeing the big tree, it was like it was all, we all were the one big tree. I didn't really see other trees besides the one big tree arced with Jesus.
Ah.
Saw that big tree too.
Could this new big tree represent the one new man too?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yes.
That just came to me.
Yes.
Which is the one new man who is one with the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit too.
Now that is one new man.
So I just back to this unity thing, because I think that's just what it symbolizes a lot is I feel like a question is being put to us: what is stopping us creating more unity in the body? What is stopping us individually? We each have something that's our stumbling block, that's our blockage to that sap flowing up our tree. What is it? For each of us to kind of, contemplate that individually, really.
Well, I think we got good revelation today on what the end game looks like.
Mm. Yeah.
Lots to contemplate. Is there any other comments before I turn the recording off?
Did I miss when we all together as one, like spoke out the name of Jesus?
Nope, you didn't miss it.
Okay. Well, I would definitely like to do that, just to be intentional about it.
Sounds good to me. And then we can all visualize Jesus in the middle with the crown over his head, and all of us as maybe one big tree. Do you want to lead us, Elliot?
Sure.
Okay.
So this message is for, heaven and earth, and particularly all the trees that need to come back to Jesus. Yo. Hey. Wow, guys. That's great.
That was good.
Yes.
Woohoo! The end game is going to be glorious.
Yes, it
going to
is.
be glorious.
Amen.
It's going to be way
Amen.
better than anything we've seen before. So don't fight it. Don't fight it.
Yeah, because I believe that once that happens, that's when we will be able to yield all 12 fruit. And our DNA will be transformed.
God, yeah.
Amen to that.
Woohoo! Woohoo.
Okay, I'm going to turn the recording off.